Why is it that with some women, the moment you are close to them, the air feels heavier, the silence feels louder, and every small touch feels like electricity? While with others, everything stays flat, friendly, and completely uncharged, no matter how attractive you are or how good your conversation seems to be. That difference is not luck, it is not looks, and it is not some magic phrase. That difference is rhythm. The men who create intense sexual tension on demand no longer move randomly. They follow an emotional rhythm in how they look at her, how they speak, how they stand, how they touch, how they advance, and how they pause. That is exactly what you are going to understand in this video. You are going to see why sexual tension is built step by step, how the mystery-style rhythm of attraction works in practice, and how you can use it in a clean, ethical way that respects her boundaries while dramatically increasing her desire for you. Listen carefully, because once you really get this, every interaction with a woman you desire will start to feel different. You will stop asking yourself, does she like me? And start asking, which part of the rhythm am I in right now? And what is the next beat? The first idea you need to burn into your mind is simple. Sexual tension is not an accident. It is a controlled imbalance between desire and resolution. On one side, you have desire, curiosity, chemistry. On the other side, you have resolution, clarity, comfort, physical escalation. When desire increases but resolution is delayed, tension rises. When desire increases and resolution happens immediately, tension dies. That is why chasing too fast, confessing your feelings too soon, or trying to kiss her without any buildup kills attraction. You are rushing to resolution without giving the desire time to stretch. The genius behind the rhythm used in methods like mysteries is that it deliberately alternates between moments of advance and moments of pause, between attention and distance, between warmth and challenge, so that her desire is activated, intensified, interrupted, and then activated again. That cycle makes you addictive because her nervous system starts to associate you with those emotional peaks. Most men live at one of two extremes. At one extreme, you have the aggressive, impatient guy who pushes constantly. He texts all the time. He stands too close too fast. He tries to touch her without reading the signals. And he thinks that more effort automatically equals more attraction. His rhythm is pure forward pressure. No subtlety, no pause, no space. At the other extreme, you have the nice guy who is terrified of making a move. He is friendly, respectful, polite, and completely non-sexual. His rhythm is flat. No forward pressure, no sexual frame, no escalation. He hides his desire, hoping she will somehow guess that he is attracted to her and magically take the lead. Both extremes fail for the same reason. There is no intelligent variation. There is no dance between advance and retreat. Seduction is not a straight line. It is a wave. So let's break down the core elements of this rhythm and then connect them into something you can actually use. Think of sexual tension as being built on four main levers: your internal state, your body language and eye contact, your verbal frame, and your escalation pacing. If one of those levers is weak, the rhythm breaks. If all four are aligned, you can be in a random place with a woman you just met and feel that undeniable electricity growing between you, simply because your timing and your presence are working together. Everything starts with your internal state. The mystery style of game always assumes one thing: women are more attracted to the man who does not need their validation. If you are nervous, overeager, or desperate for a specific outcome, your body exposes you. Your voice speeds up, your jokes try too hard, your eye contact becomes either too intense or too avoidant, and you start monitoring her reactions instead of leading the moment. Sexual tension cannot grow from a submissive or anxious state. So the first beat of your rhythm is calm, grounded confidence. That means you are comfortable with your own desire. You are not ashamed of being attracted to her. You do not feel guilty for wanting her. You accept your sexual energy as something normal, strong, and masculine. When you talk to her, you are not asking for permission to exist in her world. You are inviting her into yours. That internal shift alone changes everything. Most men lose before they even start, because inside they are already apologizing for wanting her. From that grounded state, the second lever is your body language and eye contact. Studies in nonverbal communication consistently show that a large percentage of emotional information is transmitted through posture, distance, facial expression, and gaze, not through words. Sexual tension grows when you mix comfort with a hint of sexual polarity. That means your body is relaxed but not sloppy, open but not begging. Your shoulders are back, your chest is not caved in, your stance is stable. You occupy space without shrinking yourself, but you do not crowd her. Eye contact is where the rhythm really starts to show. Most men either glance away too quickly, killing any spark, or stare in a creepy way, flooding the interaction with uncomfortable pressure. The rhythm you want is controlled. When she speaks, you look at her face calmly, then occasionally let your eyes drop for a fraction of a second to her lips, then back to her eyes, as if you are listening, but also aware of her as a woman, not just a friend. You hold eye contact slightly longer than is socially comfortable, then break it with a small smile, or by looking away calmly. That tiny delay before you look away is one of the simplest ways to raise tension without saying a word. Now let's talk about your verbal frame. Mystery's method, like many seduction frameworks, is built on the idea that at the beginning, you are not chasing her, you are evaluating her. You are the chooser, not the one begging to be chosen. This is not about pretending to be arrogant. It is about genuinely seeing yourself as a man of value who has standards. The frame you communicate is, I am attracted to you, but I am not impressed by you just because you are attractive. I am curious whether you fit into my world. You express this through playful challenge and qualification. Instead of showering her with compliments, you tease her lightly and then ask questions that test for qualities you value. For example, if she says something dramatic or attention-seeking, you might respond with a smirk and say something like, "You are a little troublemaker, aren't you? Tell me one thing about you that is not chaos." Or if she looks incredible, instead of saying, "You are so beautiful," you might say, "You look like you put effort into your style. I like that. Most people are lazy. What is one thing you are actually passionate about, besides taking good pictures?" The key is that you acknowledge her, but you are also filtering her. That creates a subtle imbalance. She starts wanting to prove herself to you. That is the beginning of psychological tension. However, sexual tension does not come only from challenge. It comes from alternating challenge with warmth. Here is where the rhythm becomes powerful. Mystery-style dynamics often follow a sequence like this. You spark interest, you show value, you push her away lightly with a tease, and then you pull her back with a moment of real connection. This is the push-pull principle. If you only push, you are just cold or rude. If you only pull, you become clingy and predictable. The magic is in the alternation. You tease her about something, and then, when she reacts, you soften for a moment and share something sincere or listen deeply. She feels bounced between, "Does he really like me?" and "Wait, he actually sees me." That emotional uncertainty fuels attraction, as long as it is playful and not cruel. Let's move into escalation pacing, because this is where most men either freeze or rush. The mystery method breaks seduction into phases for a reason: attraction, comfort, and then physical intimacy. When you understand the rhythm, you are never asking, "Should I kiss her?" out of panic. You are simply reading which phase you are in. The rhythm of escalation is small, low-risk escalations paired with her responses, then a pause, then a slightly bolder escalation, then another pause. For example, you might start with casual, non-sexual touch. A brief touch on the arm when you emphasize a point, a playful high five, a light touch on the upper back when moving through a crowd. If she accepts those touches easily, you can escalate slowly. Stand a bit closer, allow your hand to rest for a moment longer when you touch her. Maintain eye contact after a joke instead of immediately looking away. Each escalation is like turning the dial up one notch. After each one, you allow a short pause where nothing more happens. That pause is where the tension accumulates. Notice something crucial. Ethical tension always respects feedback. If she stiffens, leans away, or gives short responses, you reduce the intensity and maybe change the topic or the physical distance. If she leans in, smiles more, touches you back, or prolongs the conversation, you have green lights. Effective methods of seduction are not about forcing a rhythm. They are about leading a rhythm that both of you are enjoying. There is a difference between creating tension and creating discomfort. The first invites her to lean in. The second forces her to put up walls. Your job is to become excellent at reading the difference. Now let's focus on one of the most powerful elements of the rhythm: timing your expressions of desire. Sexual tension collapses when you overvalidate too soon. If at the very beginning you start telling her how incredibly beautiful she is, how lucky you feel, how you cannot stop thinking about her, you give her full certainty before she has invested anything. There is no tension because there is no doubt. The rhythm you want is different. Subtle desire early, clear desire later. At the beginning, your attraction is implied through eye contact, body language, and small hints in your words. As the interaction deepens, as you have shared laughs and some genuine conversation, you allow a slightly more direct compliment to slip through. You might look at her in a quiet moment and say something like, "You know, you are more interesting than I expected." Or, "I like the way your mind works." Notice that even these are about her qualities, not just her looks. Only when the tension is already present do you allow a more raw expression, like a slower look at her lips or a deeper tone when you speak. You are revealing your desire layer by layer, not dumping it all at once. Another essential part of this rhythm is the alternation between presence and mystery. Many men either overshare or stay completely closed. Oversharing kills mystery. Staying closed kills connection. The rhythm is to reveal a piece of yourself, then pull back. For example, you might answer a personal question with a real, honest answer, showing some depth, and then, instead of continuing to talk about yourself, you redirect the spotlight onto her with a playful twist. You give her just enough to feel that she is seeing the real you, but not so much that she can fully predict you. That unpredictability keeps her mind engaged. The mystery method is built around this idea. You demonstrate value in layers, not in a single performance. You give her reasons to be curious about you. Curiosity is fuel for tension. Now let's get very practical. Imagine the interaction as a series of small beats you can consciously control. A beat can be a look, a joke, a question, a touch, a pause. A healthy rhythm might look like this in simplified form. You open with something light and neutral. You demonstrate a bit of social intelligence or humor. You tease her lightly. You qualify her with a genuine question. You hold eye contact a bit longer than usual. You break the tension with a smile. You touch her arm briefly. You pull your attention away for a moment. You return with a more focused, intimate vibe. You ask something slightly deeper. You listen closely. You reward her answer with a sincere comment. You step a tiny bit closer. You let a silence stretch for a second longer than normal. Each of those beats is small. None of them is some dramatic move. But when you string them together with awareness, the emotional temperature rises. She starts feeling the charge not because of one thing you do, but because of the pattern you maintain. A common mistake that destroys this rhythm is over-focusing on the outcome and under-focusing on the moment. When you are obsessed with getting a kiss, a number, or intimacy, you become blind to the rhythm. You skip beats. You jump from light conversation straight to a physical move without having created enough psychological buildup. That feels abrupt to her, so she pulls back, and then you interpret that as rejection. From a more advanced perspective, the solution is simple. Detach from the outcome and commit to the rhythm. Your mission is not, I must kiss her tonight. Your mission is, I will lead this interaction through a wave of attraction, comfort, and escalating tension, and I will pay attention to how she responds at every stage. When you hold that mindset, you naturally slow down at the right moments and speed up at others, based on reality, not on your fantasies. Let's talk about the role of stoic discipline here, because it matters more than you think. A man who masters this rhythm is not ruled by his impulses. He can feel desire, but he is not controlled by it. He can be close to a woman he wants and still choose to hold back in the right moment to allow tension to build. That restraint is powerful. Most men either suppress their desire completely or let it explode uncontrollably. You are going to do neither. You are going to acknowledge your desire internally, let it color your eyes, your tone, your presence, but you will not jump on every impulse. When you want to rush, you will instead slow down. When you feel the urge to say something overly emotional too soon, you will breathe and wait. That self-control is extremely attractive because it signals strength. Women can feel when a man is barely controlling himself versus when a man is fully in command of his energy. The first feels risky and unstable. The second feels deeply masculine. Another advanced layer of this rhythm is using silence and stillness. Many men are terrified of silence. They think that if they are not constantly talking, she will lose interest. In reality, when there is already some attraction, a short, intentional silence can be one of the most powerful tools you have. When you are close to her, you have been laughing and talking, and then suddenly the conversation slows down. You can let a small silence emerge. You look at her calmly, maybe with a small smile, and you do not rush to fill the space. That moment of silence is a container for tension. Her mind starts to race. What is he thinking? Does he want to kiss me? Why is he looking at me like that? If the connection so far has been strong and her signals are positive, this is exactly the type of moment that naturally leads to a first kiss. You did not force anything. You simply created a space where the tension could crystallize. Now consider how this rhythm applies over time, not just in a single conversation. Sexual tension is not only built in one night, it can be built across days and weeks. The mystery style often uses intermittent reinforcement, meaning you are not always available, not always texting, not always giving attention. You appear, create a spark, and then vanish into your own life again. This is not about playing childish games. It is about living a full life and refusing to orbit around one woman. When your messages are not constant, when you take time to reply because you are genuinely busy, when you occasionally end the conversation first because you have other priorities, that unpredictability maintains an emotional high. She never feels completely certain that she has you. That uncertainty, when combined with genuine warmth and respect when you are present, is extremely addictive. The rhythm becomes presence, absence, each time with slightly more depth and intensity. However, you must be careful. There is a fine line between maintaining tension and creating anxiety or insecurity that damages trust. If you are so inconsistent that she feels disrespected, if you disappear in the middle of an emotional conversation, if you play with her feelings just to keep her hooked, you are not being a high-value man. You are being immature. A strong masculine frame does not need to manipulate. It simply refuses to be needy. The difference is intention. Ask yourself, am I doing this to protect my focus and my standards, or am I doing this because I am scared of being vulnerable? If you are honest, you will feel the answer. Real seduction is about inviting someone into an intense but safe experience with you, not about breaking their emotional balance. Now, let's make this extremely tangible for you. To internalize this rhythm, you need to practice the components separately. First, work on your state. Before meeting a woman, do not scroll endlessly on your phone or obsess over what might happen. Take a few minutes alone. Focus on your breathing. Remind yourself of your value, of what you bring to the table beyond looks or money. Think of your mission, your passions, your standards. Go into the interaction as a man who already has a life he respects. Second, practice your body language. Stand in front of a mirror and observe how you naturally hold yourself. Are your shoulders slumped? Is your posture collapsed? Adjust. Practice a relaxed half smile, a slower blink rate, steady eye contact. These details sound small, but they completely change how your presence is perceived. Third, consciously use playful challenge and qualification in your conversations, not just with women you are attracted to, but in general. Train your social intelligence. When someone tries too hard to impress you, instead of rewarding that, gently tease them and redirect the interaction to something more authentic. When someone shares something you genuinely admire, voice that admiration. You are building the habit of being both selective and appreciative. Fourth, start noticing moments where you can introduce a tiny bit of silence instead of filling every gap with words. At first, this will feel uncomfortable. That is good. Growth is uncomfortable. With practice, those silent moments will become some of your most powerful tools. Over time, you will notice a shift. Women will start responding differently to you. They will hold your gaze longer. They will find excuses to stay in the conversation. They will touch you more. They will become curious about your life. They will ask you more personal questions. That is feedback that the rhythm is working. When you sense that, do not panic and rush to seal the deal. Stay in the rhythm. Let the tension build until the next step feels almost inevitable. When you decide to kiss her, for example, it should feel like both of you are moving into it, not like you are forcing something she is not ready for. The interaction itself will tell you when the moment is right, as long as you are paying attention. Understand this. Sexual tension is one of the most powerful energies you can create with a woman, but it requires responsibility. You are playing with deep emotional circuits. In evolutionary and psychological terms, sexual contact is tied to bonding, to vulnerability, to long-term consequences. If you use these tools just to collect experiences and then discard people, you will pay a price in your own character. A wise man uses this rhythm to create meaningful experiences, whether that leads to a short, intense connection or a long-term relationship. What matters is honesty. Do not promise what you cannot give. Do not pretend you want a future if all you want is an ego boost. That kind of deception eventually destroys your self-respect, and without self-respect, no method will save you. So as you leave this video, I want you to remember a simple formula. Sexual tension equals desire plus delay, guided by rhythm and grounded in respect. Desire comes from your genuine attraction, your masculine presence, and the polarity between you and her. Delay comes from your willingness to slow down, to hold back, to let things breathe instead of rushing to resolution. Rhythm comes from your ability to alternate between attention and distance, between challenge and warmth, between words and silence, between stillness and escalation. Respect comes from your commitment to see her as a human being with emotions, not as an object to conquer. From now on, when you are with a woman you feel attracted to, do not ask yourself, how do I impress her? Ask yourself, how do I lead the rhythm? Slow your voice slightly. Let your eyes communicate interest without begging. Challenge her lightly, then reward her when she shows depth. Touch her gradually. Read her responses carefully, and allow moments of silence to carry the weight of your desire. When the moment feels right and her signals are clear, move forward confidently. If her signals are not there, maintain the tension at a lower intensity and stay grounded. This is how you stop being a man who hopes for attraction and become a man who understands how attraction is built. The title of this video is not a metaphor. Sexual tension really is built when you master this rhythm. You do not need perfect lines. You do not need to be the best-looking man in the room. You need awareness, discipline, and the courage to lead. If you commit to practicing this, interaction after interaction, you will notice that what used to feel mysterious and random now feels like a pattern you can read and influence. That is when the game stops playing you and you start playing the game.